10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go.
And now, here's your host,
King James.
Let's be welcome to the show for everyone. This is Extra Speed on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM Makurdi, and I am King James Yiye together with
Mmemshima King.
Terwase Aya-mnger.
So this morning our focus is on mental health. And of course, there is an international day or World Mental Health Day, which is in October. But every day it should be mental health awareness. And so we're bringing mental health. Here we're saying, for those of you who are viewing us on Facebook, is mental health versus mental illness. And we're asking few questions. How do you know if someone has mental health challenge? And how do you know if somebody is mentally ill? Perhaps they don't know the difference, but we'll try to let you understand in the simplest of terms. And the other question we'll be asking you is, how do you tell do you actually tell people you will see my madness today? So that question is to you yourself. Do you tell people you are going to see my madness today? Do you admit that you have some level of madness and you tell people that? Maybe you're looking at me. Do you tell me that?
I've never done that.
Okay, so it's mental health awareness and it's Extra Speed. You can be part of the show when you call 08084 275464. That's 08084 275464 when you want to contribute on the show and perhaps tell us what you know or what you don't know and all of that. Okay, so it's Extra Speed and we are also streaming live on Facebook, so you can be part of this as well. It's Extra Speed on 98.5 Speed FM. Catch us if you can.
Naturally, and you love it. We are Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. Catch us if you can.
Right, this is Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM Extra Speed with me, King James Yiye, and
Mmemshima King.
And Terwase Aya-mnger.
all right. So we had an interview and I asked Andrew Shimaka if people actually understand what mental health is, and he should tell us what mental health is. So Andrew Shimaka is a principal clinical psychologist, and so that's what we are asking him to tell us in very simple terms, possibly, what mental health is. So we listen to him.
All right.
In this climate of the society, that is actually what people think when you talk about mental health.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, their conception is what we refer to as mental illness. Mental illness is submerged under one's mental health. And let me say by way of definition, according to the WHO, it is an individual's ability to realize his own capabilities to cope, and then also be able to live daily, function properly in his abilities, and also contribute effectively to the society. It does not mean that an individual has mental illness, but once there is an impairment that hinders your ability to contribute to the society, it could be that the stress of life has impacted on you negatively and you cannot contribute positively to the society. your mental health is not in a stable. You are not in a stable mental health.
So it means it's not a permanent thing. It can come and go.
Yes, mental health come and goes.
So how do I know?
You watch out for signs. When you are so stressed up and you can cope with your daily work activities, it can last for a day, it can last for 2 days, it can last for 3 days, it can last for a week.
So it is actually true that every human being has a moment of insanity.
Yes, 1%. Every individual has 1% degree of insanity. Commonly, you can ascertain that when somebody is aggrieved, when he is angry, he tells you, I will show you my madness. He is admitting to the fact that he has 1 degree percentage of madness. It manifests when situations become favorable. Of course, people have different personalities at different fora and different places. So your personality here in the studio will not be the same personality in the church, not be the same personality in the market. So our personality varies. Yeah. And that is why Opport said is the dynamic organization of an individual's persuasive characteristics that manifests its social distinctiveness. It means that it is persuasive because it pushes you at different situations to react the way you react. It manifests in social distinctiveness because its manifestation varies from one place to another. And it is enduring. It's an enduring attribute that you carry along.
Right. So is that clear for you guys?
It is.
Yeah, because we are here. He's talking about, first I asked him if maybe just to explain briefly what is mental health and trying to put in perspective if it is all about madness. So he is saying that mental health is, let me put it simply, it's your ability to cope. Maybe we'll stress, for instance, if you are stressed out at work, it means there's something, mental health.
You're overwhelmed.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it doesn't become illness when it has completely taken over you. And that's why I was asking him about that degree of insanity. And he says, yes. So your personality in the studio here, we are calm people, maybe pretending to be good people.
Good people, good nation.
Yeah. But when you are out there drinking, perhaps you are shouting, screaming, and they say, wow, so this guy can be like this. So I think these are different ways of managing your mental health. That's what he's saying, basically. So a few things he has said, I don't think anybody is going to be confused, but if they are and they call and ask, of course we're able to explain. But basically that's what he's saying, that I understand. You made some points?
Not necessarily. But it was when he said, like every human being, we have that 1% of insanity in us, and well, it's funny when someone is stressed and you make the person angry the more, and then you hear the person say, oh, I will show you my madness. And at times you're trying to assume that, oh, is it that there's something wrong with the person upstairs or something, Basically, that was...
It's a normal thing. That's why he's talking about stress at work and all of that. It means your mental health is being stretched, overstretched, So it could, yeah.
And that's the aspect he's talking about, the self-admission. You have admitted on your own that you have. Nobody else has diagnosed you from without. It's within you that have decided that, okay, yes, I'm mentally ill and all that. And we look around it as generally madness. Yeah, somebody says, I'll show you my madness today. Okay, yeah.
But it has not gotten to the stage of madness.
It's not stage of madness. Just that moment, that flick, 1 second or 5 minutes or that. And then
few seconds, actually, All right, so it's Mental Health Awareness on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM 0808 427 5464. You can call now.
Hello?
Oh, hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mmemshima King. Good morning, KiNG JAMES YiYE. Good morning, Ted.
Good morning.
Engineer Sunday Akbar from North Bank on the line.
Morning, Engineer Akbar. Good morning.
Yeah, thank you very much. I listen to the psychologist very well, clinical psychologist, and that is it. You see, in this client, when you say somebody has a mental illness, they quickly say that person is crazy. Maybe it's very rash. Brain is part of the body. Just like I have toothache, your eyes can pay you, your body can itch you, the brain also can have some challenges. That doesn't mean you are going to broadcast. Like, for instance, when we were students, people can read and overread and they have brain fag. It's temporary.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that they are mentally, deranged completely. So the people should check. If you have a challenge, little, go to the psychiatrist hospital. Doesn't mean that you are mad. A lot of people try to say, if I go to psychiatrist, they say that, hey, I'm the hundu. I mean, so they will not go. So I can speak a little bit of this. So it's not like that. Brain is part of the body. So it can always have a little challenge, and that is how it is. Like even like he was talking about being angry. If you cannot control your anger, you can do things out of the ordinary, which is not good. So we have to maintain our stability and the rest and the rest. So mental health, generally, we must take care of it just like we take care of our bodies. But if you allow it to degenerate, if you don't care, or those who take substances, at the end of the day, just like any illness, if you don't treat it at the incipient stage, it can degenerate to a stage where it will be uncontrollable. So if you allow your mental health to degenerate to that mental psychosis, then you begin to go bonkers, and then you'll be the worst for it.
Yeah, you show people your madness that one. Yeah.
Yes. My submission is that brain is part of the body, just like any part of the body can be ill. Brain can also be ill, and that doesn't mean that you are mad. Thank you very much.
Welcome. And you too. So yes, just as he's saying, Engineer Sunday Akpa, the brain is part of your body, and from the clinical psychologist's point, that's why he's talking about stress. When you overstretch it, the mental health challenge could become an illness. That is when it's sustained, prolonged. We have another caller there.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Emeka Nyok from North Bank, Makodi.
Okay, good morning, Emeka. Go on.
Yes, mental health. It is something one have to think, and one have to protect, and one have to give himself rest and not be taking drugs. Like these days, you see our little children, they have deviated from the olden days. Those days we used to talk about India hemp. But today, India hemp is just like more with other drugs that our people take, our children take these days. Other substances. All these things affect the mental. And we need to make sure that we protect by not taking all these drugs. And all these things, by the time we stop taking them, we will control our mental. And they will be proper, we will be healthy towards our brain. Because most of all these things, brain is the one that carries it. And when you overload the brain, sometimes it will be confused, and you will start seeing somebody behaving somehow. And when that person starts behaving somehow, you will start saying maybe it's from the village. Maybe people from the village have started again. It is not the people from the village. It is you who take some substances which is not good for your health.
Right.
So I am of the opinion that every one of us should make sure that we do not take things that will make our brain become somehow or have a problem. We should always compose ourselves and stop overthinking. Because sometimes when you think again, it affects the brain. When you try to do some certain things again, it affects the brain. I think when you start doing those things that is not good for the brain, it will be problem. And you have a rest. When you toy day and night, you need to have a rest.
That's
because
true.
As a human being, you need to do things that will help the brain
That's
to
true.
cool down.
All
So
right.
I am of the opinion that all Nigerians, during this time we are discussing about mental health, it is not everything that happens people are attributed to sickness from the village. But it is the way we conduct ourselves within our environment. And let us not be people who will be thinking, I'm supposed to be like this person. I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do that. At the end of the day,
It's your
you
brain.
don't do those things. You have some problem within yourself.
Right.
So I am of the opinion that Nigerians, all of us, we should give our brain rest sometimes and make sure that we do the needful.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. God bless Speed FM as we continue speeding on.
Right.
With telling the people the truth.
Thank you.
God will continue blessing you.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So, just from the two callers, Jina Sandeakpa and Emeka Nyagu, it's more like, okay, don't overload your brain because it's not going to carry that load. So he has mentioned few things apart from drugs, which is obvious, substances, thinking too much. I've not achieved this. Is already August. And what my pastor told me at the crossover night,
the resolutions for the year.
It's not happening. New Year resolutions and all of that. You're not in control of some of those things sometimes.
Apparently.
Yeah. Okay, so mental health versus mental illness, the state of your health, your mental health, how your brain can carry you at a point, as compared to when it is too much for it and it leads to an illness, which is almost permanent. I asked the clinical psychologist if this can be reversed, but we have a caller here.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, King James. Good
Morning.
Morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
This is Google Fanny calling me angry, but hotels not calling.
Face your phone, Fanny, and speak out.
Go on.
Hello.
Yes.
This is Google Fanny calling
Yeah,
me
we heard
angry.
your name. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Yeah. So, regarding the interview we had with the health expert,
clinical psychologist. Yeah.
I really don't know if it's this thing.
If it is,
but assertion implied that mental health has to do with one's moral values or
not moral yet. It's more like putting load on your brain, your stress levels and all of that, your fatigue and all of that. It simply means something is pushing that part of the brain that interprets all those things. So at that stage, like taking drugs and your brain is interpreting things, you are living with it. But if you keep doing certain things, it becomes permanent. It becomes mental illness. That's what he's saying.
Okay, like when you, for instance, like when you begin to deviate from the norms, like from the norms, or like, can I say societal norms or human values or that, something like that. Like when you begin to deviate, is that what?
Okay, so the answer is yes and no. Yes and no, because like in Lagos, for instance, if you're driving against traffic,
yes,
that is what society doesn't want. It's against traffic rules. So somebody will naturally think something is wrong with your brain. Yeah, exactly. So, but it could just be a mental health challenge and not necessarily mental illness. Maybe at that moment you're so fatigued.
Just only at that moment.
Yes, but when you see somebody who has pulled off their clothes and are walking naked on that street, they are mentally ill. Is that clear? Yeah. So I think we've tried to answer that from the clinical psychologist. So to make it very simple, that is what it means. And that is why I asked him, everybody, and I should be asking them. All of us have told somebody that you're going to see my madness today. So, and that's why he says we all have that 1%. It's 1%, he said?
Yeah, 1%.
Of insanity, yeah. So it comes, especially when your brain has a lot of stuff there.
You even see that in children, they exhibit that. Especially when you code them to a certain point, you see them, they go into their rooms, you know, and the way they will scatter things or they will call on the way like, are you okay, you know? So you have to try and like bring
sometimes
them down.
They even give
them.
tantrums there and then.
Yes, they do that. They do that very well.
They throw it at you. Okay, it's extra speed, mental health versus mental illness. And I'm King James YiYE together with
Mmemshima King.
Terwase, Aya-mnger.
All right, so we have spoken with principal clinical psychologist Andrew, PhD. Andrew Simaka. But someone is here. Let's hear them before we go back to the interview.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, ma.
Good morning. Your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Pastor Victor Samuel Wondzem.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
I'm calling from Goma.
Okay.
Like me, I'm saying that I don't know whether it is the mental health challenge, because sometimes I'll read my Bible, study, meditate. I would think then when I get to the way or the road, I'll begin to think and talk within only myself. I will just be talking I will just be talking within myself. The scripture that I read, I will be talking, thinking how to encourage people, how to just. So one of my brothers said that you are mad though. This one you are talking alone, you are mad though. But is that a challenge?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so
It's
because
not.
it's just like memorizing your Bible verses, and perhaps you want to go and preach.
Yes.
And you don't want to forget something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Exactly, it has become part of you. So sometimes maybe not. But a psychologist will actually tell you a certain degree that if you continue doing it will look like
it's
mental
mental illness.
But let me ask you: Do you vocalize that in public, in a marketplace, or where people are, or on the road when you walk?
On the road.
only you alone.
Yes, sir.
Exactly, and you are still seeing if a car is coming towards you, you still know.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. So he's not absent-minded.
He's not.
So he can live and interpret what society is doing, which is what this clinical psychologist said. So I don't think. Thank you very much. So don't be afraid. You're welcome. Yeah.
It's nothing for him to be afraid of. I think. Yeah.
But even when you say that, even the madman on the street knows when a vehicle is coming
Not
towards.
all of them. It gets
Are
to a
you
certain
sure?
degree. Yeah.
Are you sure?
It gets to a certain
I
degree.
haven't seen any madman that isn't scared of.
Just yesterday there was a
vehicle.
little traffic hold up in front just by my house, the corner, the sharp bend there. Yeah, because there were two different mad persons coming from two different directions and were crossing against each other. Vehicles had to stop. The first time I've seen that kind of hold up.
really?
We had to stop and wait for them to cross. One was going to the dustbin to look for some stuff. Another one was returning from there with stuff. So people had to but you know.
Hello. Yes, engineer, I'm back online.
Okay.
Yeah, that man that come from Guma. I think
pastor,
he wanted people to. I want people to call so that they can help him. Just like you people alluded, that is not mental health challenge because he recognizes himself that he does do that. You understand? If he's hallucinating, he wouldn't even know that he was doing it, but he was conscious that he did it.
Yes.
So it's just like KiNG James said, you can memorize. Sometimes when we were in school, if you read, there are certain formula or certain laws you need to put that verbatim. You memorize them and you recite it yourself to know that it's actually correct. So I don't think he has a challenge. But if he begins to do that and he doesn't even recognize that he's doing that, then somebody can say he's beside himself.
No.
Exactly.
Then secondly, I can share this with you. Somebody made one kind of funny contribution the other day on the Facebook. He was talking to himself. I said, please don't ask me. I'm in a management meeting because I'm self-employed.
Managing himself.
That's right. So he's self-employed. So he's having a management meeting with himself.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So the pastor shouldn't be worried. Actually, it's something that you are aware. If I'm preparing for my radio show and I'm reading my lines to myself, I'm not mad.
Yeah, no.
Exactly. Okay, so that's what people think. Extra speed on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. Mark with the King James YiYE here.
Mmemshima King.
Terwase Aya-mnger.
Mental health versus mental illness. The clinical psychologist Andrew Simaka, PhD, says mental health is different. And to ask him mental health if it can be reversed.
Yes, for some, it may be mild situation of mental illnesses. It can begin from an unstable mental health that has not been looked at or has been attended to. Then it deteriorates into a mental illness state. Now, you can also agree that mental illness is a component of mental health. Mental health looks at the general well-being of an individual. His mental health is stable so that he can function effectively and also contribute positively to the society. Now, when it degenerates to mental illness, it is an illness. It's a problem. What began as a mild state of a deviation from the normal could not be attended to, and it deteriorated into an illness that impairs not just his daily functioning, but also impairs his cognitive ability. His thinking process is distorted. His speech is also distorted. His thinking is disoriented. So he may even begin to hallucinate. He may even begin to experience delusions. He may even begin to, be unable to take care of his personal hygiene. His emotions are affected. This is a state of mental. This is a mental illness state. So an individual, slides from poor mental health state, which is not attended to, into a serious or a deteriorated mental health state, which is referred to as mental illness.
Right, and right at the point we have a caller.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, ma. This
Morning.
is Togo calling back.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question to ask. This is the question. How long is this normal, or how long is this normal deviation going to last? Is it something that will take like days, weeks, or a month, or even even for a year? Do you get? Because there are something like that.
Okay, so if I understand what the psychologist has just said, clinical psychologist, perhaps there may be no timeline. Some people may just, but again,
probably a whole year.
It's very possible. It's very possible for a whole year, because if you are taking substances and your brain is able to, for instance, accommodate that, and you keep taking, and maybe you are adding, and you are feeling that this one no longer works on me, and you add another one, it could get to that stage of mental illness.
I hate to interrupt, but people begin to perceive you as someone who is mad, someone who is abnormal.
Yes, they can do that because of the deviation from the normal, as he's saying. If it is obviously noticeable that what you are doing, it's not normal again. It's actually some early stage of mental illness.
Okay.
Right.
The way he said like he's not satisfied.
He can. Well, he has dropped, but I mean, people can call and also help him.
No, but his curiosity is quite understandable. He's trying to find out how long it would take. But like King James tried to explain, that could be 5 seconds, could be 1 minute, could be a day. It depends on how persistent it is. If you are indulging in something that is against the strength of your body, your brain, and continuously you do it, that could lead to that level where the doctor just explained now. But if it's something that just a blip that just came, normal stress from work, boredom, thinking, not just external infusions from outside, and then it's just within you thinking all those stuff, stress. I think that could go. If you rest well, that could go.
Exactly, that is what it means. Stress from work, stress from children, stress from staff, and all of that. If you rest and take it off you after some time, it will go. That's why they always emphasize rest. But in the case of substance abuse, for instance, you're starting with maybe, I don't know how they measure it, maybe 1 wrap of Ikea, and your brain is taking it, and you are feeling that I've graduated from this stage, and you are going gradually upward.
Pencil length.
Exactly. It gets to a point that it could have taken you up to a year. Someone else with a very light brain may take that same rap that you've graduated from, and it could just knock him. Exactly, to just knock him. So that is why it's difficult to say it has a timeline. Fanin, I just hope you are convinced, because he really wants to know if there is anything. We can follow this up with a clinical psychologist. But we are just starting early. Mental Health, World Mental Health Day is coming in October. But it's good to start early so that people get prepared. So if you are not necessarily satisfied, please don't hesitate to call again, Fanin.
Okay. Of course, if you are being, like, I would take permission to say that if you have been into anything apart from just broadcasting this, we also started to say you could start your journey today from dropping from what you have been addicted to, that you think maybe someone has not told you. Like the pastor said, his brother is the one that condemns him for for vocalizing.
That one day he's going to go mad.
But if you know that it's not just that, it's something that you're being into and it's difficult for you, you can start with us today, slowly.
Exactly. That's very true as well. The brother finds it strange that you are verbalizing the Bible verses while you work on the street, but he's with someone. So, but a few questions I asked him, he's not absent-minded. He recognizes, and just like Engineer Sunday Aqua says, you actually know that you do this, and somebody has said that it means your brain is still in a very good states.
You'd be scared if you get close to where thespians are rehearsing, actresses are rehearsing their scripts, and they have to, like, especially for television, you give your script, you have to memorize. Go home, read that, grab the entire scene.
Yeah, you think they're mad.
They're mad. You just think they're really mad persons trying to remember the lines and everything, because once they say they give you take it 3, 2, 1 action, it's not paper, no
so
script.
they do that themselves. If they're coming up, growing up, and they want to even go into acting, they face the mirror and rehearse before the mirror. So the parents could think they are just some mad kids coming up. Extra speed on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. So Alamashagode team actually asks people if they notice, what they do if they see people with mental illness, if they understand, So it's more like, okay, what do you think when you hear that someone is mentally challenged? So this is the question we put to people on the streets. Let's listen.
Okay.
I think it's someone who has an abnormality, as in he has a misfunctioning in the brain, or something is wrong as a result of, it might be drugs or whatever.
I will feel somehow with the person. I will feel challenged for the person.
It could be a substance that such a person has taken that is causing that. Now, what can I do psychologically to see I can help such a fellow not to take such substance, and then, if possible, move back the position of normality?
Yes, first of all, what came to my mind is sometimes some of us, we thought it's about it's a matter of alcohol, or right from the tradition we have in Nigeria, maybe where you came from, or sometimes we think it's all about the drugs that the boys of nowadays used to take. Sometimes makes them to have that challenge.
Okay, so the question we put out to people is what they think when they hear that someone is mentally challenged. And that's what they are saying. The other man is trying to bring in the village people point in there, the aspect where Emeka was saying that sometimes it's not village people, but what you are thinking, what you are taking. So these small green plastic bottles, you take like 20 a day. Come on, your brain can't take that eventually, and you think it's village people. So I've actually asked Andrew Simaka, the principal clinical psychologist, to respond to what people think. Yes. And we listen to him.
Okay.
No, they are right in their own thinking, and even practically, they are also right. They are also looking at the causes of mental illness. And the first person spoke about alcohol. Yes, substances also cause an individual to suffer mental illness. You know, the society is quite evolving, that young people are into substance use and abuse. And of particular note, we have tramadol, we have shisha, you have marijuana, you have benylin with codeine, you have cocaine, you have heroin, and the list is endless. We have heard stories of some who have soaked Maggie cubes into xTRa and allow it to ferment to give them that euphoric feeling.
Some soak away.
Some soak away.
Some evocative gum.
Some evocative gum, and the list is endless. Yes, it causes mental illness. The brain has a rewarding pathway. Now, there is a reward system in the brain that gives you a euphoric feeling, a state of happiness, an elated mood. Now, when you take these substances, they beat what we call the blood-brain barrier. And once they beat the blood-brain barrier, they are able to imitate the functioning of the neurotransmitters. And they mimic and trigger the reward pathway to give you more excitatory rewards.
That's highly technical. Can you break it down?
Yes, it's just like when you give your dog food.
Yeah,
it knows the particular place you are giving it food. Now, if it exhibits a particular behavior, you give it more food. You will notice that with time, the dog will begin to exhibit that same behavior repeatedly, so that you give it more food. Yeah. So when you take alcohol, it gets into the brain pathways, and it imitates the neurotransmitter that is responsible for our reward system, our state of happiness, our elated mood. Now, you notice that someone who suddenly begins to take alcohol, he becomes so excited unnecessarily. He begins to speak without fear. That's a reward pathway. Now, when he enjoys that reward system, he keeps taking that volume of alcohol
so that he can speak more.
So that he can speak more, he can remain in that state. Now, when he develops tolerance that this quantity can really not give him that same euphoric feeling, he steps up. So it is same with drugs and other substances. So those who use and abuse substances are receiving a reward from the brain, from the reward pathway of the brain.
In which case, the reward can be negative to the eyes of the society.
No, it can be negative to the eyes of the society, but the person is a positive reward, because they tell you, I feel bored, I don't have a problem. Even if there is a problem, I don't know. Wine itself has to do with happiness. Somebody who drank overnight, had a hangover, it doesn't matter whether he slept in the gutter. When people are insulting him, he keeps telling them, I enjoyed myself, I had a hangover. Wine is a symbol of happiness. So substances also give them a euphoric feeling, a state of happiness that you can understand. But in return, it's a negative reward.
Right. That's clear, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it's very clear.
Yeah.
So I think for Fanen, that should answer his question in a way, because you hear the clinical psychologists telling you that drugs and alcohol, for instance, it actually aids the brain's reward system, especially for happiness.
Yes.
So the neurotransmitters are replicated, and they enjoy. The person is enjoying what they're doing, so it can tolerate to a certain level. But when you keep taking, it may not. So the system and the idea of somebody's living in the gutter, they do that a lot, and you are thinking, come on, why would this guy
do that? But they are having fun doing it. They are enjoying it.
Exactly.
And you see,
I wonder whether at that point you are still conscious, you're still within yourself.
I don't know. I've never been in that state.
You may not be, but all you can know is you are feeling good.
You are feeling,
Exactly.
So even when someone is saying, but this isn't good, to you are like, you don't even know what I'm enjoying or what I'm getting. But also, I want to also look at another aspect. Basically, we're talking about drugs and alcohol that takes you to that level. But I think I was reading a book, and I think at times bullying too might take someone to that level, because then you see some children that they are quiet to themselves. I don't know if I'm right, but correct me if I'm right, if I'm wrong.
You may be right. You may be right and wrong.
Okay.
Right and wrong, because that could be depression.
Okay.
Bullying could lead to depression.
Yeah, but you see them when they are grown, like out of the country. You see them; they now start attacking people. They start behaving. They are dangerous. You don't want
behavior.
to.
That's just bad behavior.
Are you sure that's not mental illness?
It is, of course.
Because
obviously,
they didn't face it when they were children.
Obviously, but that is an induced. That is a mental illness that they have induced it themselves, because it's not as if it's as a result of. And again, how do we know that they were not taking drugs at a point?
You cannot know. And then you see some ladies that they are not crazy, but the way they behave. Yeah. And if you sit them down, you talk to them, they tell you that, they took advantage of them when they were young and all of that. So I don't know. Yes, there's a way they behave as if they are mad. And I don't know.
I don't know how that links to their brain. A clinical psychologist will explain that, or even a psychologist will explain that as well. But here they are telling you sometimes stress and then intake of substances and drugs and alcohol which could actually accelerate the mental illness process. So for the other one, sometimes it's just self-induced. That's what, if you ask me, that I think. Okay, it's Extra Speed on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. Makudi. I'm King James Yiye.
Mmemshima King.
Terwase Aya-mnger.
So we actually speak to someone who suffers mental illness and is on medication, and funnily enough, she knows. Yeah, she knows that she's suffering mental illness. She's on medication. So I don't know if they go to the teaching, not the teaching hospital. They have, I think they have a part of that, but the Federal Medical Center, psychiatric department, they are near the stadium. Are the people who are working there, I don't know if they work unaided to go and take their medication, I don't know. But this woman knows. Let's listen to her.
I'm experienced more young with challenge.
Even me, I have mental issues. I know there is something wrong with my head because I forget easily. I went to the hospital and the doctors too said so. It's not everybody I relate with within my neighborhood, but my sister here relates with everybody. I talk to people based on my mood.
She can't go home. She can't go home. She can't go she we don't well and via come lam sasa. I get angry. I am depressed. People in my neighborhood insult me. They condemn me, calling me a mad woman. Challenge. She can't live in Marina, me crossing into a check or the dog. I keep my distance from them. She can't jai. Me quagana ha. I'm a con, I can't move my sherry or more. Can't like being more crossing Hindu. They say I talk too much. Now she can't live. She can't feel somehow. She always won't cross it in there. You're blind and I would have to a baby. Should I be she baby? How do I relate well with people who condemn me? Tell you you can't temple. I pay you lamb hundred. I have 2 months to do. I go to psychiatric hospital for my medications. Sometimes I buy drugs.
Right, so she knows her story, and so she is not just speculating. She's on drugs. She has been certified to have mental illness, and she's on drugs.
She's fully aware of everything happening around her.
Exactly,
that is just the other side of it.
That I'm like thinking she knows what's going on.
Yeah,
you
they
understand?
know.
Yes,
they know.
They know.
Yes, they know. It's not as if they're completely out. They actually know. They know to some extent.
Well,
yes,
how
they know.
do you know that someone is mad?
The control is a difficulty now.
That's you yourself or the other person outside?
No, that's if you're going to the psychiatrist. How do they know that, okay, you've gotten to that stage? Are they going to test your brain or what?
The psychiatrist, they do run a lot of tests. I had the privilege when I was working in Lagos to take some persons in the parish where I was assisting to a place where popularly we call it Yaba Left. Now, if you go to Yaba Left, that's the extreme. They take you to Yaba Left. I think that's your final place. They chain you there. If you get inside that place and see what goes on there in Yaba, there, it's a psychiatrist. It's a
so even the ones you the more.
No.
Okay.
Even the ones that are suppressing some kind of maybe excess exhibition of power and strength in you or something. Yeah. They do certain things that society frowns at. Even though they know certain things, this is still. I keep telling you, they have a lot of wisdom, even in that mental illness state. So that is just
in there too. They even categorize. They separate some that are extreme to some that just the new arrivals are kept at separate places. Yes, and just new guys. Some they have to restrain them because even if you leave them, they will hurt themselves.
There is a saying in Tiv that say Hindu killing a wing, a win.
Okay.
What that means is if you are a PhD holder in madness, you don't throw stones again, you only gather stones. So when they are beginning, they actually throw stones to destroy things. But when they are so long into madness, they rather gather stones, but they don't destroy but they're still mad. Mental illness.
There's some issues she raised there. She said, I just took some few points.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how do we differentiate between somebody who is hot-tempered, someone who is forgetful, and someone who is talkative, and then someone who is extremely extroverted.
Exactly.
An extrovert speaks non-stop. Someone is forgetful. You just tell the person, okay, go out and get me chin-chin just now.
And the person forgets. And it happens to people that they are.
And then someone is hot-tempered. You are saying something peaceful, but the person's reaction is so loud that you think the person...
So a clinical psychologist will tell you that is a particular stage, an early stage of mental illness, perhaps. So, but when they run tests, like in the case of this woman, Santi Abata, it's obvious. So it's not speculative. She has been taken to the Federal Medical Center and she's been certified to have mental illness, perhaps a certain degree, and she's on drugs. And she also knows that when she takes it, she gets better. So let's quickly see how the clinical psychologist reacts to this woman.
Okay, the first positive thing about what she said is the insight she has that she has a mental illness.
Yeah.
It is positive because it is going to lead to effective treatment.
Yes.
Now, mental illness cannot totally be cured for some. For other categories, it can with consistent medication over time. Now, an individual's ability to have insight that yes, I have a problem leads to adherence to medical treatment and drug and follow-up appointments,
as it is in her case.
Now, you may likely not have cases of relapse where she has stopped taking drugs, feeling that she's okay. She realizes that she has mental illness. That's a positive one. Secondly, the reason why several people will not go to seek mental health
yes,
is because of the stigma associated with mental illness. And in her case, she's already been facing the stigma that yes, generally people say you are mad.
They insult her.
And they insult her.
They say she talks too much.
They say she talks too much. It is simply because they have failed to understand that she is talking like that because she has mental illness. Nobody in his right senses, in his correct state of health, will want to share his secrets with everybody. So the society must come to a point of understanding that these people that suffer mental illness are human beings like us. That's one. Two, they need our support, our family support, our friends support, our co-workers support, in order that they can live a more stable life. Now, stigma has increased the number of mental illness cases we have around. So people tend to hide their situations. Because they want to hide and take drugs, they are not effective on their medications. So there are several relapse cases. Now, that's what she is facing. But it is good that the society should also know that. Thirdly, she said, certainly people will not want to entrust her and also do business with her. It is still part of the stigma. But people who suffer mental illness and are undergoing treatment can return to a normal state of life while they are on medication. We have mentally ill people who are lecturers in the university. We have mentally ill persons who are even medical doctors. We have mentally illness persons who are also psychologists. We have mental illness people who are also holding political offices. They are taking decisions for us. They are politicians.
But some of the decisions are not positive. Anyway.
But some of them are positive once they are taking their medications correctly and consistently with their follow-up. They make sound decisions.
I shouldn't have said that.
I think you would scare. You are going to scare people. No. Imagine the doctor treating you.
No, but I know doctors here in this state, actually. I know them, yeah.
Or your lecturer that is teaching you and you're watching.
But you have seen them, don't you?
I don't think maybe I've seen them.
You may not have recognized, but for the clinical psychologist to establish that these people exist in these offices, he said that out of fact. He's not presuming
he knows.
And the scary one is the ones in governance.
Wow.
I mean, offices.
Yeah, politicians.
Who take a decision over what happens in the next 360 days about the budget.
Exactly.
About the construction of a flyover to heaven.
No wonder there are times that we the citizens, we pause and like, what he's saying, does he even understand what he's saying?
Exactly. Wow. So that's that. Okay, so we have asked him from his response. Time is not going to be enough, but I asked him how people can seek help. We listen to some points, and then we end the program.
All right.
Now, I have a question here from a listener. How can someone seek help when they notice some of the symptoms? But I think that is a difficult one because, as you said, forgetfulness and depression may not necessarily be. So how can someone seek medical help when they notice? What symptoms should people look out for when they want to seek medical help?
Okay, first let me begin by saying that mental health is as important as physiological health. As people go for routine checkup, they should also go for routine mental health check so that they can ascertain whether their mental health is stable or not. Now, how can one come to understand that I have mental illness? The number one challenge about this is that people who suffer mental illness deny they suffer mental illness. So the people around. So when I spoke about social support, it could be family, it could be friends, it could be co-workers. This is what they should look at. The person begins to experience hallucinations, seeing things or hearing voices. When you relate with your colleagues that are suddenly become so sad, so withdrawn, you know, somebody who is lively, all of a sudden have been so withdrawn continuously for 1 week. You know, that person, something is going on wrong somewhere. You need to assist him to seek help. Then when somebody who doesn't talk, you know, suddenly begins to talk excessively, it's a sign that something is wrong. There is a deviation from the normal. It is becoming abnormal. He can seek help. Somebody who eats well, all of a sudden stopped eating. Somebody who enjoys hanging around with friends, all of a sudden becomes so lonely, so withdrawn from social activities.
Okay, so we'll continue this. So it means that if we have anybody working here and they don't come to work for 1 week, they are withdrawn. That is what it means.
It's a problem.
Yeah, we should take them to Sakia.
I think not so soon. You just have to ask, are you okay?
But that's what he's saying.
Investigation first to find out.
Okay, so it's time to say bye. We'll continue on this.
All right, bye.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.
We play the greatest music. 98.5 Speed FM. As King Radio, 98.5 Speed FM. Catch us if you can.
She higo kahu atankro yin pepe. Number 1 na vesisha Asking Radio TV. Ma kamo wa wene oto ehwandi. Zane hemeno ngwa Asking Radio. Mso neki.
As King Radio, 98.5 Speed FM. Catch us if you can.
98.5 Speed FM.
Asking Radio News on the mobile app, on smart speaker, online at askingradio.com and on radio on 98.5 Speed FM.